So we have blasts and we have drips, okay? Now we haven't spoken about drip campaigns yet, or we haven't seen drip campaigns inside the MobileMonkey interface yet. But there's a big difference in how you want to think about what messages and what content you want to put through a drip and the type of messages and content you want to put through a blast. So the primary difference is that a drip campaign is a sequence of messages spaced out over time. So in a drip campaign, and this is after a person joins a certain list. So it could be all contacts, anybody who engages with your messenger bot or anybody who messages your company through Facebook will then get added as a contact list and then be put into a drip campaign. So a drip campaign, it's not as much about selling as it is about blast, as about blasts, because you're going to have, let's say 10 minutes, and then another one that's going to come out 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, and then maybe a day later. Now, what's important to understand about the drip campaign is that you could send as many marketing messages within a 24-hour period of a person engaging with your bot or messaging your brand, and then one more 24 hours later, one more non-promotional message 24 plus hours later. It's the 24 plus 1 rule. We'll talk about that more when we build drip campaigns. But the purpose of the drip campaign is engagement, okay? I'm not sure if that's legible, but engagement. You want people to engage with the bot. You want to ask them questions like, do you like cookies? They say yes. And they're, obviously something a little bit more relevant to your brand, because every single time they engage with your bot and they message you back through Facebook, they stay on your list. So in essence, the purpose of drip campaigns is to give useful information. Give useful information about your brand, but to also keep them on your audience. It's sort of like cookie expiration dates when it comes to remarketing campaigns and AdWords, right? There's a membership duration to an audience, and the same thing is true with Facebook bots. Drip campaigns are a great way to keep people engaged by not being too salesy, not trying to sell too much or not trying to promote the brand too much, but just more like engaging content, like blog posts. You might have a drip for a webinar. These are good. These are very common use cases for drips. White papers, ebooks, reviews, industry guides, store hours. These are sort of like evergreen types of pieces of content that are engaging, and it's not asking the user to do anything in particular. Blasts are very different in nature. Blasts are when you want to run a promotion, you want to get traffic to your site quickly, you want to get sales, so you have an urgency, right? Blasts are one-off Hail Marys, sort of. And you want to get that to be as effective as possible. Like, you're not so worried about losing subscribers in a blast. You're not as worried about frustrating subscribers. I mean, you're always worried. I don't want to say that. I don't want to give off the impression that we're never not worried about frustrating our users, but with blast, it's okay to be a little bit more aggressive. So we're going to be aggressive, or like tactfully aggressive, and we're going to be urgent. Remember what we spoke about, the principles of urgency with scarcity. We're going to use persuasive techniques more thoughtfully here. Like with drips, okay, here's like here's an interesting blog post, or here's a case study, or here's a poll or a survey, here's a webinar registration, sort of more straightforward, again, getting engagement. Blasts are like, no, we need to sell. We put on our salesmanship hats. And we're gonna see these actions in play as we design these blasts. So that's the real primary difference. And in both of these types of marketing, you need to always let your users know that they could unsubscribe. That's a best practice that Larry has found, that I found, that when you're running either blasts or drips, in the first message, you could just say, you could write in square brackets, reply, stop, and to unsubscribe. It's always a good idea to do that. And MobileMonkey actually comes by default with that built in, that if somebody replies stop or unsubscribe, they get an option to unsubscribe, and that helps the user experience tremendously in both drips and blasts. But that's the basic difference. Psychologically, the difference is urgency, immediacy, aggressiveness, selling. That's blasts. Drips are more We want you to engage. We want to keep you on our audience list. We want to promote content that we have. We want to keep our brand in the front of your mind. And hopefully that will result in sales. Of course, that's the whole point. But the primary purpose of a drip, again, is getting that engagement. The primary purpose of a blast is getting that sale, getting that traffic to your website, and accomplishing a very specific marketing goal.